This is an absolute masterclass. Man, this is
Designer Darren Palmer.
the Darren Palmer, the one and only.
Not everybody in the Gold Coast wants the same things as everybody else in the Gold Coast. Give people what they want and then a little bit more. I see on the block and sort of go.
Because lifestyle drives emotion, right? And emotion is kind of where the dollars are at.
It's lifestyle.
What do you think 2025 is bringing? All right, buying Gold Coast. Here we are. Another amazing app. I'm super excited for this one. We're just chatting off air. It seems a bit like Groundhog Day, same time of the year. One of my favorite guests this time of year. We're going to chat actually all things lifestyle property. Obviously, a lot of the listeners they're salivating on Gold Coast property, and we've got with these guest steps, I want to get absolute pros in, and I've set the bar pretty high. I've got the big dog, DP, Darren Palmer, the one and only, on the Gold Coast in studio. We're going to unpack some key things around the lifestyle factors of a property, which is really important here on the Gold Coast, but also a little bit on indoor-outdoor connectivity. I think it's such a big one, especially on the Gold Coast, and who else but the man himself. So, Darren, mate, thanks for coming on the Gold Coast.
Always a pleasure.
Always
a pleasure to see you, Matt.
Always, mate. I guess firstly, how are you going? You just pop up everywhere. You're doing the block still. This is your 10th year straight doing your town.
Yeah, I know.
Well?
I started when I was 12.
Yeah.
Ever young, youthful.
Oh, yeah. So you just had a big year.
I've had a big couple of years.
What
mate.
would be if you reflect back? We're nearly at the end of the year. By the time this is probably launched, it'll be probably New Year's. But mate, 2024, just quickly, Darren Palmer, for you personally, mate, how's it been? Give us the quick short.
How's it been, or what have I done?
How are you feeling? How are you feeling, first of all? And
I'm cooked because I've done a lot of things this year.
Yeah.
So I redeveloped my site in Bondi. I moved a property down to Hymes Beach. I built a house from scratch. I renovated my house, which was 3/4 of my house being rebuilt from scratch.
Wow.
What else? I've got a tapware range, a cushion range, an art range, a rug range, fragrance candle range. So we launched e-com sort of this time last year.
That's right. Yeah.
It's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Are you having a bit of a break over the Chrissy period?
As in a mental break?
Yeah.
No, I am. I'm going to have a rest over Christmas for sure. I think, hopefully come out swinging in 2025.
Yeah. Just a quick one, slightly off topic, but still on topic, because I notice a lot of high performers in the property space encapsulate this habit. Mate, health-wise, you came in, man, you're still looking fit every year. You're looking fitter. Mate, how much emphasis do you put on like your health and kind of wellness? I mean, to do all of that kind of stuff.
Huge amount.
Yeah.
So the routine of it is really everything for me. I go to the gym because I've made one decision about 27 years ago that I would go to the gym. I don't make the decision every day. I make the decision way back then that I was going to go. Every day that I could go, I'd go.
Yeah.
And so when I have travel, when I've got something to do, when I can't get to the gym, I don't go. But otherwise, I'm there. So that's sort of 5-6 days a week. Yeah. And that gives me a place also to be in my body instead of being in my head, because the head is a busy place. And I like to sort of try and get an escape from that every once in a while, and just connect into my body and do that sort of nice repetition of stuff that you get in a gym. Yeah. And then, feeling good in your skin and in your clothes. Yeah. It helps.
Look good, feel good, play good, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play good. That'd be nice.
Yeah. And then what about, just quickly on the food, you eat pretty well and you fuel your body the right way?
I do, mate. I do. I don't drink too much.
Yeah.
I eat nice, healthy food. I don't eat processed stuff too much. I do eat chocolate a lot.
Yeah.
And ice cream is my Achilles heel. Yeah. But otherwise, I'm a good boy. Yeah.
No, I always just like we've had so many amazing guests on here, and there's all a common pillar with people who are successful in property. They're also, they take their health pretty serious, because it's a demanding industry, job, whether you're even in design. Surely your mind would have to be not in a good headspace to come up with some of the ideas you come up with, right?
When I'm stressed out, creativity stops. So having a healthy body definitely helps me keep the stress levels down. Yeah. And the stress levels help that creativity flow.
Yes.
So yes, I do. I mean, and I'm not like a crazy very specific eater, but I do eat like 5 meals a day.
Yeah.
I do control the portions just because I don't eat a lot, but I eat a lot.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I love food, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm not I make good choices.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all that stuff sort of adds up to having a good, healthy body and mind, and then you can just get more stuff done because you're not exhausted.
Yeah. And you really, it sounds like you nearly identify. I heard someone say this, and I'm like that too with training. It's just like you identify with yourself of someone who does work out and put the health first, you know, like that's nearly in your ingrained identity.
Yeah,
As a
100%.
human, yeah.
Yeah.
Train, yeah. And then moving into the property front, mate, so I've watched the block this year, obviously Phillip Island. Just firstly, that experience of the block, this was probably the first one logistically. I was just thinking from afar, like that would have been a big kind of, just a big production to bring together the Phillip Island block series. How was it as a whole?
I tell you what, I thought I had it rough because I had to go there every weekend. I didn't realize the contestants drove to and from Phillip Island every
Did
day
they?
and stuff. Yeah, well, like they're going to the shops and you know,
Yeah.
they had to drive to stores and things. So some of them
True.
are driving for an hour or back to Melbourne or whatever. But for me, and it's, poor me. I left my house at 10:30 in the morning on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And I got to Phillip Island about 4:30 in the afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Driving, is that how long
Well,
it
so
take?
like drive to the airport, fly.
Oh, yeah, true.
Pick
yeah.
up the car, drive.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, this place.
Yeah.
I mean, beautiful
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Lovely place to visit once in a while.
Yeah.
Every weekend a lot.
Slightly scarred for a bit.
Yeah.
But mate, I watched most of the series and obviously some of the homes, and that's why it was really relevant you jumping on the podcast at Phillip Island, Gold Coast. You know, a lot of people buy holiday homes too. What did you find the difference between this series and some of the more inner city suburban series in terms of what the house brought?
It's interesting that we're talking about lifestyle because that was the agenda for this block. And I don't know if you saw the last week, but it was like a communal clubhouse, and they had a wellness center with cold plunges and saunas, and there was communal areas and pool and like all this great lifestyle stuff built into the actual property for everybody to enjoy.
Gotcha.
So it's interesting that one person bought the whole lot. I think that's a really good way to package up that block too. It's like one big lifestyle offering. And yeah, I mean the houses, they had things like basketball courts for the first time on the block. Basketball courts, they all had pools. It was definitely lifestyle centric because it was a holiday home destination. Sort of unlike the Gold Coast, I think a lot of people live here and then also like to be able to come and stay here and visit here.
Yeah.
Phillip
Phillip
Island
Island
is
is literally a holiday.
primarily, there are locals that live there, but it's very sort of cyclical holiday destination.
Yep. If Darren Palmer was to, I guess, if you're looking from the Gold Coast from a farm and you're up here quite a bit too, right? Taking what you're learning on the block and obviously your expertise and design and your amazing creativity, what tips could you give to, I guess, the people? Maybe they've got a dwelling already and they're watching shows like the block and they want to capitalize on, because lifestyle drives emotion, right? And emotion is kind of where the dollars are at in terms of valuations and things like that. So for those people on the Gold Coast might be looking 2025, doing a renovation, capitalizing on the lifestyle location, where would Darren Palmer start that renovation? Or what feedback would you give to that particular person looking to do that to their property?
Well, it's always look at the market exactly where you are geographically and see what they want. Because not everybody in the Gold Coast wants the same things as everybody else in the Gold Coast.
Good point.
Some people want to be backing onto the water. Some people want to be near the ocean. Some people want to be in the hinterland.
Yeah.
Exactly. So not everybody's going to have the same amount of space or the same amount of available outdoor area. Some people have bigger homes on smaller lots.
Yes.
So, it's not, I don't think it's a one size fits all answer. Yeah. We're in sync. Snap.
Yeah. So it really sounds like, all right, first tip really is where your property is, identify what that market craves. Would that be,
100%. Like in Talabudra at the Yorktown house, there's a putting green.
Yeah.
Right? Not everybody gets a putting green in their house,
Yeah.
but there's like a one-hole putting green and you can smack the ball
That's sick.
bloody,
That's
I don't know how
unreal.
far away, but the block's massive.
That's so cool.
So it depends how much space you've got to see how much amenity you can squeeze into there. I think most people want to have a pool. Most people want to have an alfresco area that connects into the living spaces.
Yeah.
Most people want to have that sort of indoor feeling and aesthetic applied to the outdoor spaces. And then it's how much more amenity can you pack in there? Can you get an infrared sauna? Can you get a cold plunge? Can you and how much do people want gyms over media rooms? I don't know. I mean, I know what I'd prefer.
Yeah.
I watch media on my phone. I'd rather work out at a gym.
Yeah. Interesting. And then what about then in terms of, I heard you say there, the indoor, outdoor kind of thing. And a big one on the Gold Coast, feedback I always get with our company and all the clients we help and buy for is indoor, outdoor connectivity, like that little phrase. What's your definition of indoor, outdoor connectivity?
From a macro point of view,
Yeah,
it's
just
planning
in
the
general.
space. So planning to make sure, like if you're undergoing a renovation, you look at your floor plan and go, okay, does the living area open onto the outdoor spaces? Because if it doesn't, rejig your floor plan so that you've got kitchen, living, dining with a large opening onto the outdoor spaces, so you can continue that sort of living zone into an exterior living zone. And also allow for as much light to come back into the indoors from the outdoors with as big openings as you can. So big stackers, big sliders, bifolds, whatever it is. Then you, because we've got such great decisions you can make with outdoor furniture, and outdoor furniture looks so much like interior furniture. You need that aesthetic connection between the two.
So it's not like that's the outdoor. That it's like, I know what you mean.
It's not like
So you've got black
in the
chairs out
90s
there.
where everything's made of tubular PVC and you can pick it up from Bunnings, right?
Yeah.
There are some really beautiful, soft, aesthetically beautiful pieces that you can buy. And then if you've got a sort of a trend or a mood or a feeling that you're creating internally, and there's lines of curves or softness or the type of forms using inside, you can carry those through better now than you've ever been able to, because the outdoor furniture looks like it could be inside, and the fabrics are soft and pretty, not like hard and canvassy. So it's that connection aesthetically as well as physically to indoor and outdoor, I think, is the key.
So it's nearly like a imaginary, it's all under the one roof kind of thing.
If you're planning it, think of it as one cohesive color palette, materials palette, and then extrapolating that into the different zones you're going to put it into.
Oh, that's absolute fire.
Boom.
Yeah. That's gold. That's like that. Like, I know what I'm talking about. That's the stuff I love.
I use words like extrapolated so it sounds smart.
That's really good advice. I didn't think of it that way. It's so true. For an average punter like me, my question then is like, could you give me like, I don't know, whether it's a website or just something to find? Is there places now that, all right, you know the old Super A-Mart back in the day, you get the sets of like indoor and out. Like, is there anywhere you can go or any tips you can give for like, all right, there's the indoor. I've gone for that coastal beiges, neutrals. How do I match it with? Would I go to the same shop, or is there like kind of sites or something to?
Yeah, look, I mean, I mentioned Bunnings as a negative there, but they actually have some great outdoor stuff. I like Temple and Webster for choice,
they're good.
For range,
Yep.
because they've got so many different brands and so many different things. It's good to look there. Google actually is but it's a really good resource for shopping for interiors. And also if you use, so say you go to a house and you like the piece of furniture there and you take a snap of it, you can go to Google Lens and load that in or upload that into Google Lens, and then it'll show you all the places you can get it from, all the way back to where it's from.
Yeah, wow.
So if it's from some place on Alibaba, you'll find it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So it goes back to the manufacturer.
And if you can't find it, it'll find things that
Something
look like it.
similar.
Yeah.
Wow,
So you shouldn't have any trouble finding things online these days. For sure.
That's wild. So it's nearly like, all right, you've got this vision. Just say you went into a shop and you've seen something you like, snap it, and then you can kind of start building out your.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go stealing business from shops, but
Yeah,
definitely if you're going to stores,
Yeah.
going to homes, I mean, and you know, you see a lot of
you see
homes in your
some-
business,
Yeah. It's
then
a
you'd be
great
like,
idea.
oh, I love that chair. Where'd they get it from?
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah. And potentially like a cost effective, you know, for the 40
Maybe.
grand couch, you know, there's something similar at a different price point. That's unreal. And then, mate, what about in terms of right now, a bit more specifics in terms of like placement of, you know, to get that connectivity right, right versus wrong. Like what you've been through so many houses, you've obviously judged so many homes on the block. And I hear it a lot on the block, the indoor outdoor connectivity. You jumping into judge mode now. Where do people get it wrong, you feel, after all those years judging?
It's the same things that people get wrong inside. It's zoning
Zoning.
and planning in terms of the most ideal location in terms of use. So what I mean by that is if you've got an opening,
Yeah.
then don't block it with furniture. If you have a
Gotcha.
barbecue, make sure you're not traveling too far away from the place you're going to dine.
Eat from
If it's going to be blowing smoke and stuff, then make sure it's not going to be blowing smoke over people
into
sitting
where
down.
they're sitting. Yeah.
Exactly.
Good point.
Yeah, and then also make sure that you got visual and physical thoroughfares around things so that you're not squeezing past people or squeezing past things to get through a dining area, for example. They're the things that I see on the block and sort of go, if you just plan this a little bit better, you'd actually get a more usable space and you get more amenity out of it. And then also think about who's going to use the space and what are they using it for. Like if
Yeah,
it's
that's a good point.
primarily a
Great
holiday rental and people are going to go there with families, like say it's 2 adult families with 2 little kids going to one place, then how much seating are they going to want? And how much lounge seating are they going to want? How many dining seats do they need? You know, how big does the barbecue need to be to accommodate that amount of people? How much does that outdoor space need to cater to the amount of bedrooms inside, the amount of beds inside?
I was just going to say, like a 1-bedroom holiday home, you wouldn't have a 12-seater outdoor space because it.
And the opposite is true.
Yeah.
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 So
a 5-bedder and then a little circle dining. Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah.
it's so funny. This is obvious stuff to me.
Yeah.
And
I
I never know what we're going to talk about when I come in here. 'Cause I'm
yeah.
like, God, what do I know today? I don't know anything. and then we start talking. I'm like,
Mate.
yeah, there's plenty in there.
It's gold, isn't it? And that's what it's about, right? Because you're such an expert in that space. It's like some of those things, it's just game changing, right? And I'm just reflecting now. I mean, I feel even our conversations, Darren, make me a better buyer's agent for our team and what to look for because most people can't see what you're just saying there. Like the average punter, honestly, would not have any idea around any of that stuff.
I can't not see it.
Yeah.
It drives me up the wall.
Yeah. That's awesome. I want to pick out a bit of more of that. So, what about? Okay, now what about the? This is a big one I've noticed in homes that it's a feeling for me, like the colors and the transition from super bold to new. Is that a real thing? Is that am I feeling the right thing there? You know, when it's just wrong, they're not matching at all. Is that a legit thing? You want to try and keep the same colors through the furniture and the.
Well, it depends, man. So it's interesting because maximalism is a thing.
That's
right
that
now.
Bold.
More is more is more. You know, so you see a lot, especially in sort of Melbourne zones.
Yeah.
And sort of more
like that urban.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Lots of brick and reds and
then a bit of
leather
artwork that's banging. Yeah.
Lots. You know. Then you come geographically somewhere like here. Then there's definitely that more sort of modern Mediterranean vibe, and you know, much more of that sort of stucco and Venetian plaster and plaster chalkiness, and you know, that vibe is definitely more of a coastal thing. And I don't know if you've seen more of that sort of modern Mediterranean than sort of the old Hamptons that we used to see loads of. Yeah,
true.
So coastal's sort of swung towards the Mediterranean and away from American Hamptons.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, that doesn't really answer your question, but there's a place for everything, and I think there's loads of loads of interesting things in terms of trends and materials and colors, but some things are more appropriate to some areas, I think.
In terms of like areas locate or areas in house.
Geographically.
Oh, geographically.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would be, say, off the top of your head, like, so you're thinking like more your suburban city, more urban industrial, you're going for those pops
Yeah.
of
For sure. Maximalism, that sort of rustic, bricky, it's not industrial. It's got more timbers and more warmth to it.
yeah.
But that's definitely sort of an urban look.
What's just quickly on this, because I'm thinking of a few houses on the coast, right, that have that. Like, would you? This is purely. I'm just thinking out loud. Like, just say you're doing a proper flip, like a Gold Coast flip. You're here to make money.
Yeah.
Would you, because that is so left field in a market like the Gold Coast, would you ever explore that? Like, it's like, all right, this is probably going to miss most of the market, but I'll attract that or one or two of those. But would you? Or is that just like a risk, like a punt with anything?
I wouldn't. If I was doing something to meet a market, pardon me, if I was doing something to meet a market, look, you don't need to do anything better than look at what Grey does, right? Like, look at them. They go, okay, what does a luxury house at that price point need to look like in this location? Yeah. And so they did a pink one recently, right? Like that was
that peachy.
sick.
June,
Yeah,
that's right.
amazing house.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to do whatever it is that market expects. So a luxury market might have a more open mind to what luxury looks like. A middle market might have really specific ideas of what they think their home should look like. So you also have to look at what does the for lack of a better, what does the buyer profile look like first?
Yes.
Then how do they perceive the cues that you're putting in there? So what does luxury look like to them? What does coastal look like to them?
Yes.
And then sort of you create a brief in terms of amenity and inclusion and aesthetically that works backwards from what does that buyer want? And how do they perceive things?
Yes.
It's kind of psychology.
And it's nearly like when you're setting big goals, right? You're kind of reverse engineering.
Bingo.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah. And it's a really good point. I agree with that now that I think about it, because at the end of the day, geographically, that's why I say, like, location will do 80% of the heavy lifting, right? And if you did what you said there, like that little activity, if you were in a poor location and then you looked at the buyer appetite, it lowers. So you're not going to do like a reno like up there for that kind of buyer kind of thing. Like
there's no, what I always like to think is give people what they want and then a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like give them what they think they already want and then some.
Yeah.
But if you go too far ahead of where they expect to be, they don't understand it yet. It's like trends. It's like anything in fashion. It's like anything where there is taste involved.
Yes.
That if you go too far ahead of what people expect, they're not there yet.
It's perceived wrong. Yeah. That's a cracker. Love that one. Mate, what about now if we go exterior? Everyone talks around street appeal on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Street appeal. If you were to say, what % do you think street appeal makes up in the whole house, would you say, roughly?
I think if you get it wrong, it's pretty hard to recover from.
True. It's the first thing you see.
The first thing you see and the first impression you get, and if there are things that let you down, then
true.
It's like there's a loose thread on a jumper, and then you walk in and you start pulling on the thread, So then you think, oh, that wasn't that good, and it sets you up for looking for what else isn't that good. And you'll maybe walk into the home internally with a more critical mind. But if you are wowed from the get-go and you've got stars in your eyes...
You missed kind of the little...
Bingo.
Yeah.
You'll be more like, ooh, wow. The oohs and ahs then keep coming. So I think it's really important.
Creating that first impression bang, like straight away. So would it be fair to say then, I'm interested because I got this question the other day and I wasn't quite sure, but I'm interested to know, where would you start? Like if you were to do a renovation or maybe a new build or something like that, say renovation on the Gold Coast, and you had X amount of budget, pretty healthy, but you're not sure how far it's going to get you. Would it be fair to say, because of that, would you go more on the exterior then or more on the interior?
Gee whiz. That's a really good question.
Yeah, I got it the other day and I was like, that's a really good question.
I would, the overarching answer is I would put the money where the money needs to go in terms of what's most wrong. So
Gotcha.
if the internal floor plan's a
Good
mess,
Yeah.
fix that. You know, if the inside is pretty great, but it's let down by a sort of dated facade, then fix the facade. If the backyard isn't very good, doesn't have a lot of lifestyle built into it, but the rest of the house is okay, then fix the backyard.
Gotcha.
Kind of fix the thing, fix the wheel that's most broken, you know?
Yeah, good point. So the biggest priority, work on that first. And
Yeah. But there's a lot can be done with paint, landscaping, you know, a gate, good numbers, good lighting,
the lighting,
a feature plant, like that stuff does do a lot of lifting. You kind of, and also you kind of want to distract people, like look over here and away from here.
Yeah,
you know, you can
yeah.
do that with design,
Yeah.
and inclusions for
Yeah,
sure.
interesting. And would you, if you were to put, because this is a common one too, like, you know, you hear the common ones, right? Like your living areas where people spend kitchens and that. So budget wise, would it be fair to say, like, if you are trying to do it, a Gold Coast renovation on somewhat a budget, would it be fair to say definitely leave something for facade, front facade,
100%.
street appeal? Yeah.
Yep. Landscaping, facade, garage doors, street numbers, lighting, footpaths, low planting, all that stuff adds magic.
Yeah. What about, let's dive in what are the most cost effective things from street appeal? Like straight off the bat, you think that
I just gave you a list, Matt.
Yeah.
Paint,
but
fences.
Let's go specific on obviously there's, you know, the full blown fences or there's, you know, white picket fence with timber or something like.
Yeah.
What do you think? Have you seen anything that's kind of like, oh, that looks really good, but that's not that expensive?
Nothing I like is cheap.
Nothing. You got expensive.
Unfortunately, I've got expensive taste.
We got the block judge. Like, look at
I don't know. I mean, look, one of my favorite things is paint. Paint fixes a lot of stuff. And you know, if
what do you think of just the spray over, like just the straight up external spray?
I've done it.
Yeah,
I've done it, but I've done it on a. I mean, it's a niche holiday home in a really great area. So and it was horrible brick, and I had to do something. And I painted over it. And I did it myself. You know, I
just painted over it.
I hired scaff and I taped everything up and I painted it, and it cost next to nothing.
Yeah, wow.
So that was great. There's a place for render. There's a place for cladding. I mean, around here, I'd probably think cladding would be a better approach.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can do. I mean, I have this problem because I want to do everything myself, and then I'm busy, so I can't, and it's not a good use of my time. But I really want to, and it makes me happy.
Yeah.
So I'd rather hire a scaffold and get a spray rig, and do it all myself.
Yourself.
Yes, because it's fun. Look at my face.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. But yeah, I'm not a painter's thumb, so it's not a good idea.
So it really sounds like probably the cheapest way or the best way, still be effective, is definitely take it serious, the external street appeal. But there are things like painting, like doing the work, even like spraying over, spraying the paint.
And I'd say also
fencing.
You know, there's AI that you can put a photo in and go generate me a front yard. Like if you're not working with a landscaper, which you should, but if you're not, there are AI options. And just landscaping something so that it has appeal, it leads you somewhere physically and visually, that you've got a front door. You know, we saw on the block this year, some of the front doors did a better job than others.
That was interesting, eh?
Right? So colour, timber versus just painted bloody corridors. It tells a really different story. One looks like a fire exit, and one looks like the entry to a luxury home. So just the right front door, the right door handle, the right type of lock in terms of does it have technology built into it? How do you light the spaces? Like all those things add up to that that we're talking about.
Yeah, I really like the analogy with the thread in the jumper. So true, yeah.
It's really true.
Yeah, interesting. And mate, lastly, as we wind down, but one thing I'm really, really keen on is it's so obvious the wellness trend in property now. It's nearly like it's become a non-negotiable to have a wellness retreat in the house.
Especially.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Gold Coast lifestyle, obviously, mate, you've been amongst a very active city. We are. What's your thoughts on the whole wellness trend at the moment? For it, against it, waste of money, good money?
That's why I like being on the Gold Coast, because it feels like home in Bondi to me. Everybody's fit, and if you're not fit, it makes you feel bad about yourself. So you go to the gym. That's what keeps me there. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's sort of, but not. It's such a lifestyle focused place, the Gold Coast, and like we said, like it depends where you live, what sort of lifestyle you're going to be enjoying. But like in Talabudra, like that place, the Your Town Christmas Prize Home, we've got a pool, we've got a pool, we've got an ice bath, a sauna, a spa.
Wow.
There's a putting green. What else have we got there? I mean, it's lifestyle.
All under one roof.
Yeah. So check in, stay there. You can get everything you need, and you don't have to leave. But if you do, you've got the beach 20 minutes away. I mean, that's lifestyle to me. So to be able to sit in your home, look out at the green trees, and then not really have to leave, that's a cracker. That's what you're getting here in the Gold Coast.
On the Gold Coast.
And then you get to the beach. I just left where I'm staying, and there was like 4 people in this heat at this time of day using the outdoor gym, doing handstands and all sorts of stuff. Like that's why you're here, right?
Yeah. So if you had you were doing a reno on the Gold, you'd kind of want to put that in. You'd be advantageous, you feel?
I think if you've got the space,
Yep.
then you want to think about lifestyle as a priority for sure. And how do you fit lifestyle in? Is it an infrared sauna? Is it a ice bath? Is it having a place that you can just stretch and do yoga or whatever?
Yeah.
Is it a pool? Like, I mean, pools kind of seem like a given.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Am I right?
Yeah. It's always on people's list. All room for. Like they always talk to our buyers agents. They're always like, "Yep, pool or room for a pool."
Bingo.
So you're right. I'm finding as well, like since COVID, a lot more people are at home a bit. Like home's now becoming like this sanctuary of like energy, and the way they feel at home is the way they're going to interpret how they get out each day and things like that. So it's becoming more. I'm just noticing that wellness stuff at inside the home for a lot of these new builds, they're nearly non-negotiable on the Gold Coast now.
I think you touched on something interesting there. I think it is something to do with COVID. I think it is because, I mean, one, because we got so used to being
Just at home, yeah.
But also I think it changed something about our psychology, about how far we go from home to, I think it actually did make our lives tighter.
Yeah.
So the idea of being able to entertain, have people come into your space, to be able to live happily and do everything you want to do within your space, and then choose to go out. I think it's definitely changed since COVID, because I think we've lived much more out, much further away in terms of the office, but also in terms of how we lived our lives and lifestyle. We were further away from home. So I think it's much more important now.
Yeah. And it was interesting. I heard a trend on one of the successful builders we had on this podcast. They do some epic builds, and they said a lot of the client requests are having the kids' bedrooms with en suites a lot more, because kids are staying in off cost of living, stuff like that. Like they're just staying at home a lot longer too. Are you kind of noticing that trend?
I think the right proportion of bathrooms is the same amount of bedrooms, personally. And I
yeah,
think having
yeah.
en suites wherever you can, or Jack and Jill.
Yeah, the two-way, yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think, like this, your townhouse, for example, has 2 bedrooms and a Jack and Jill, a main bedroom with an ensuite. We've got another bedroom with an ensuite, and then we've got a pool room with an ensuite. So
Gotcha.
there's so many, and then there's obviously a powder room as well. So powder room
Yeah,
to service, living
Yeah,
spaces.
in the living, yeah.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. If you have only en suites,
Yeah.
then you've got to make sure you've got an amenity for people that come to visit, so that they've got a bathroom to use, so they're not tracking through somebody's bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't want the in-laws knocking on the door, to
Kinda.
So, yeah.
Not so much. You're like, hey, hi guys, I need to use your toilet.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah. So it's nearly getting to the point now where amount of bedrooms having that bath. Yeah. Yeah.
Look, personally for me, I think the amount of bedrooms to reflect the amount of bathrooms, having the amount of beds reflected in the outdoor space and how much you allow for it. And then, how do you keep people occupied?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
is it a pool? Is it a big lawn? Is it
Yeah.
lifestyle spaces
Yeah.
like a pool or a
Yeah.
spa or ice bath or whatever it
Yeah.
is, putting green?
Yeah.
All those things, there is no one size fits all answer, but they do scale up and down with each other. So the amount of beds and the amount of people means more amenity. And so you've got to
Yes.
make more allowance for it.
More allowance. Yeah. Mate, this is an absolute masterclass. Man, we could turn this into an online course of
Matt,
some sort. Jesus.
I dead set. I walked in and said to Matt, I don't know what I'm going to talk about
Yeah.
today. I've got no idea what's in my head.
Phenomenal. Absolute phenomenal. Man, I got to ask you a last question. Like the word trend, I don't really like the word, but like 2025 is around the corner. Probably when this is launched, it's 2025. What do you know? I think last time you nailed it, the curves, and you were mentioning Mediterranean, and mate, we're 12 months down.
Ta-da.
Yeah, it's Mediterranean. So give me the hot tip, man. What do you think 2025's bringing?
You know,
Trends,
I know the answer to
styles?
this. Okay.
Oh, he's
Boom.
got it.
Thank gosh. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Interesting things and trends. So we've got color drenching. Have you seen any of
Color
that?
drenching.
Yeah.
All right, I've got the pen.
So
Talk to me.
wall,
Colour
ceiling, floor, all the same color. Exactly.
Wall, ceiling, and floor.
Yeah, like color drenched. So it means like you've got to click a tool and you've gone boop, 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 and then everything's the same color.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
including
furniture.
furniture.
Like a studio. Like a,
Yeah, like very sort of, it's very conceptual.
yeah.
But color drenching, you'll see it a lot
So
more.
with the floor, so it's like a floor, it would be like floorboards.
Well, imagine the paint on your walls is transferred to your ceiling.
Yeah.
Then say if it's deep red,
Yeah.
right? Then your furniture and some of your decor and your walls and your ceiling, they all are tones of the same red.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
So isn't it like you're in one of those museum, like
Very
that
conceptual.
vibe?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
So color drenching, you'll definitely see.
Color drenching. Yeah.
Dopamine decor is
Dopamine decor.
Yeah.
This is the juicy nuggets, eh?
when
When our clients hear some of this coming out of my mouth, they're going, "Whoa!" Like
if
you
your
know
clients are looking
stuff.
for dopamine decor here in the Gold Coast,
Dopamine
there's
decor.
something wrong. Don't,
Dopamine
because
decor.
it's sort of like an extension of Memphis, and it's definitely it is what it says in the box. Like it's there to make you happy. It's sort of young and kind of kooky,
Yeah.
and the colors are very crisp and primary-ish. So we're talking like cyan and
Gotcha.
yellow and
So yeah,
and,
the solid
Yeah.
brights and yeah.
So dopamine decor is a thing. Funnily enough, checks and
Yeah.
checks
Yes,
and lines.
I've noticed that. Yeah,
There's
you're
lots
right.
of checks and lines
Yes.
going on. So that's
Yes,
something.
I have noticed that.
What else? There's something else I was looking at.
So it sounds like there's a lot of just like really bold, like kind of
Modern
strong
farmhouse
things.
as well.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Modern
Big time.
farmhouse
Yeah.
is definitely a trend that we're going to see continue on through. Like we've seen a bit of it.
Yeah.
We've seen a fair bit of it, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like, it's like what Hamptons isn't, you know? So it's farmhouse, but definitely that clean line architecture. The Your Town house is exactly it. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But modern farmhouse for sure is a trend that's like, if you think about trends as they're an extension of or reaction to something. And so you'll get like lots of handmade as a response to lots of man-made. You'll get lots of natural as a response to lots of plastic and glass and clean. So you get, nostalgia against supermodernism. You get maximalism against minimalism.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and a lot of the time these things can happen at the same time. And then you get eras playing into it. So, we definitely saw 80s, then we saw 90s. Like we saw some 2000 stuff come through with the minimalism that was coming in COVID. So I don't know, what does 2010 look like? I mean, sure, that's going to come back. I don't know.
Yeah. I've seen there was actually a few renovations. I have to show you the bills up. They were pretty cool. There was one in Savoy and Broadbeach Waters, and it was that kind of green and browns, like that. What would that be, like the 60s, 70s kind of vibe? That era with checkers and it pumped. People loved it.
Yeah,
bold, super risky, but
that's it. So I mean, the short answer really is, this is the best way to describe it. It's Tom Ford quote. I love it. He was saying, with fashion, if you don't feel good in it, don't wear it. It's the same with trends. If it doesn't fit you and the way you want to live, don't take it on. There's so many trends to look at, and there's so many things that endure, and there's things that have a shorter lifespan. None of them are better than the other. Just do the thing that works for you, and make sure if you're going to sell a property, it works for the market.
Boom. That's absolute wisdom. And a bit of Tom Ford in there too. Jeez. It's not your first rodeo, is it? Jeez.
I did my research before I came.
Mate, and just to finish on Your Town, you mentioned it there. Yeah, they got an absolute banger out in the tally. Give us a quick snapshot of that one.
Absolute cracker. So it is a Jason Pate designed modern farmhouse. He designed it with sort of a Californian farmhouse vibe.
It's got a cool vibe, yeah.
Very cool. So I picked that up, and all the interiors are definitely on the farmhouse side of modern farmhouse. Like we've got plaids and checks and stripes and I mean, some of the trends I just talked about. 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. We also have another room which is detached, which it could be another 5th bedroom. Right. There's a media room, a big open plan living, kitchen, dining with the kitchen benches in this house. I got from CDK Stone. It's called Carpathian marble, and it's leathered. Have you seen a leathered stone finish?
No, leathered stone.
So I don't know what they do to the surface, but it's like when you sandblast timber. Like it gives you all the sort of undulation of the surface, so you can actually feel all the textures in it, which drives me.
Wow.
Like catnip for me. So this stone is like brown and it's got pinks and grey in it, and the kitchen's heaven. The outlook is absolutely gorgeous.
It's
got
nice
a
out
pool,
there,
pool,
all the wellness retreat stuff,
all
putting
that.
green,
It's hot.
Yeah.
$15.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are the tickets? $50, is it? Yeah.
15.
Oh, 15.
Matt, 15.
What a butt. Yeah, I'm going to text my assistant now, get me a whole book. Jeez.
$15.
You had me at putting green. I'm just like, that's
is
my
that
dream.
Right?
Yeah. I'd love the golf simulator and the putting green in the house.
It's got 3 garages. 3-car garage, I think. Comes with the John Deere ride on.
Oh.
You can have heaps of fun with that.
Just
your mates.
Yeah, they do really well, don't they? Your Town with packaging, absolute experience.
Yep, and $100K of gold bullion.
Yeah, just
to help pay for
to kind
forever.
Of sprinkle it in there. So there you go. So Your Town, check them out. They usually pump out what, 2 a year? They usually do.
So we got 10. It's 10 a year, but we got one Christmas prize home per year.
One Christmas one. Yeah,
I've done it for the last 10 years. Yeah. This one is the best one we've ever done.
Yeah, I agree.
yourtownprizehomes.com.au.
Yeah, check it out. They're absolutely unreal. And mate, just to finish on, I'm really keen to hear what you think around our Gold Coast Fast 5, even though you're not from the Gold Coast. I'm really keen for this one. Yeah, so this one's brought to you by Temp Therapy, actually on the wellness. If you're looking to step up your wellness game, especially on the Gold Coast anywhere, so the lads at Temp Therapy, get in touch. Code word SRAMA, SRAMA, for 15% off their newest infrared saunas. And they free install too.
Sweet.
Believe it or not.
I want one.
Yeah, hit them up. Temp Therapy. They're great. I got one at home. Love it. Mate, so the Temp Therapy Gold Coast Fast 5. Favorite Gold Coast beach for you?
Burleigh.
Because you're Bondi, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's home? Yeah.
Burleigh.
So I'm keen to hear a Bondi approach. So Burleigh Heads, yeah.
Feels like Bondi.
Isn't it? Hey, you
Yep.
got the bars there. You
Yep.
got the pavilion. Yeah.
I could take or leave the roadworks that are happening at the moment and have been for a long time. Not a fan of that. But Burleigh, for sure.
I always say it's gentrification of the roadworks.
Is that?
Yeah, it's
Great.
gentrification.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Okay, got it.
It's growing. Favorite Gold Coast cafe or restaurant? Have you found any decent ones here, or because I know you're a picky
got
guy
plenty.
down in Bondi. Bondi's got some absolute bangers down there.
Look, I like. Can I give you a list?
Yeah, give us a quick.
I like Light Years because the Lola Paloma is my favorite drink ever. I like Jimmy Waz. I like.
Jimmy Waz is great.
What's the one on the underneath the pavilion?
Oh yeah, Rickshaws.
Rickshaws.
Yeah,
Like
the
Rickshaws.
bug roll, yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, that's good. I like. Yeah, that's my vibe.
Yeah. I'm just curious because I was in Bondi. What's your go-to in Bondi?
Ooh.
Just curious.
I don't leave my house very much, Matt.
Yeah.
I actually really like Bondi Trat. Bondi Trat has really great pastas and stuff, and you can see still see the ocean. Or Don Pedro's.
Oh yeah.
Is one of the only places you can sort of look at the ocean.
Yeah. Some good spots, down there.
Yeah.
Raw.
Raw Bar's great.
Raw Bar, yeah, that was.
My favourite place actually in Bondi is Depot, which is across the road from Raw
unreal,
Bar.
that cafe.
Best
there.
breakfast
Isn't
in
it?
Bondi.
Yeah, it's unreal. Yeah, I could nearly live in North Bondi, but just too busy for me. Just got that little bit.
I get the common appeal though.
Yeah,
I really do.
It's a great place. There is a lot of similarities. Hey.
Yeah.
What Gold Coast suburb, if from an outside looking in, are you kind of identifying as maybe somewhere for growth, like from an investment? Is there any suburbs you really like on the coast?
I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
I look at a lot of different real estate markets. The Gold Coast isn't one of them, just because it's not where I'm looking to buy. I think if I was, I would have bought 3 years ago. That would have been the time, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. The best time was yesterday, right?
All right, exactly. Unless the market tanks, in which case, it's in the future.
Yeah. And where's your favorite holiday home destination? It doesn't have to be Gold Coast, but just holiday home. Where's Darren Palmer? Maybe this can be your rest you need.
Maybe. Gosh. My heart still belongs to Byron.
Yeah,
it still does. Yeah, it still does.
Like what a goes or something.
Oh, mate, how rich do you think I am?
Yeah.
No, not what it goes. No, I like just Byron, just good old Byron.
Yeah. Can't beat it, eh? Yeah.
I think it's got a place for me for sure.
Yeah. And lastly, dream home. Where's Darren Palmer's dream home, you reckon? And Matt, you know what? Actually, just quickly, I've used with so many people. I don't believe in the dream home. I remember we spoke around, it might have been the last time we caught up, and it changed my perspective. And I've given that feedback to a lot of people because so much people put emphasis on the forever home, right?
Yeah.
There's no such thing really.
Doesn't exist for me.
Yeah. Really good point.
The reality for me, truthfully, the future, what the future holds, I have shifted my mentality to wanting to have a piece of real estate in all the places I want to go, to actually wanting to have the freedom so that what real estate I own pays for me to go wherever I want, and I can stay in somebody else's house that I don't have to maintain, and I don't have to take care of, and I don't have to pay the rates for, and have a cleaner for, and all the grounds people, none of that. I'd rather just lob in, go to a new place, experience it, try somewhere else. That's what the future holds for me.
Unreal. So it nearly sounds like the dream home is nearly like it's everywhere. It's whatever the heart takes you. Yeah.
And it's probably somebody else's home.
Yeah. I love it. How good's that? Mate, I've never thought of that concept. I'm a big fan. Yeah.
I think that's me in 4 years' time.
Yeah.
mate.
Yeah. So, and just quickly on that, so because I know on a personal level you've been into property, investing, buying, you're still doing your own projects, things like that. You
Yeah.
still like it as an asset class?
I do like it as an asset class. Right now, it's interesting. I think the luxury property market is really tough. And I think that buyer sentiment is a little prickly because of interest rates and
Yes.
and
Uncertainty.
all the uncertainty. Exactly. And then, that we've got a election coming up in the early part of next year. It's freaking people out.
Yeah.
So I think after we get through the interest rates as they start to fall again, hopefully as they start to fall again in the early new year and after the election, then I think property is going to be a much more enticing class of investment for people selling. Right now, as a person who wants to be buying, awesome.
100%, isn't it?
Awesome time to buy.
You pretty much align with the feedback with a lot of. I believe that pre-March is probably a really sweet spot for buyers. I just think it's if you're looking to buy at today's price and avoid paying tomorrow, I reckon there's about a 4-month window.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think after sort of July 2025, things will start to pick up again.
Yeah, I agree.
And then prices will flip back towards the buyer's market.
Yep, 100%.
Oh, sorry, seller's market.
Yeah, 100%. Well, mate, that was an hour of absolute wisdom.
Was it?
Yikes. Absolute cracker. And mate, I'm always really appreciative of your time, Darren. Not only from time, you're a busy fellow, I know that, but yeah, just always willing to share what's up here. I know you're a creative man, and it's good to expose some of that to help us out. So I really do appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Matt. It's a little bit like opening a box of Rose's chocolates. You're like, just what are the flavors that are left? Like, what's going to come out? Like, give it a shake, see what falls on the ground. I don't know. My head it's like a carnival. Who knows what's going to come out of there?
Yeah, man. And where can people find all your cushion, everything? You got so much going on. Where's the best place to find Darren Palmer?
Do you know what? It's very funny that you ask because darrenpalmer.com is the place to find me.
Is it? So there's one hub now?
Yes.
Love that.
Yes, you can buy every bit of me.
Yeah, wow.
Almost.
So could the house be everything Darren Palmer?
We're getting there.
Yeah,
we're getting there. There's some stuff happening that'll get me even closer to that.
Yeah, legend, man. DarrenPalmer.com, mate. As always, appreciate it. And check out your town too.
Thanks, Matt. This time next year, we'll talk about how much more of the house I can take over.
Yes, yeah. Legend. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.